I got lucky. I got lucky. That's for sure.
You got lucky, but at the same time, you worked hard for it. You know what I mean? So yeah, he's done the calculation.
What? Oh shit! I'm so happy for you, dude. When Vince told me you hit it big, I was not expecting this big. But yeah, guys. So this is episode 52. Have one of my close friends, Patrick, on. He's from San Francisco. Met him, dude. I was looking at the footage of the boxing clips. We're gonna look at the boxing clips of you teaching me boxing, Pat. That was 2018 October.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Dude, that's 3 years. I was gonna say 2, but it's 2021 now. 3 years ago, Pat.
Yeah. I know, it's just one class too.
I know.
We did like 2. We did like 2 or 3, I remember now. Yeah.
Remembering, I first met you when I was tagging along with Vincent. He was getting a haircut, and then he took out Raymond to lunch, and then you were there as well. I was a bit confused of who was who because there was all these people.
Yeah.
And that's when I first met you, Pat.
Yeah. A lot of us Chinese, Asian people in China. It was in Chinatown, I remember.
It was. And then I think I remember I had to when I first came there, for some reason I was just like this kid, and I was like letting Vince like pay for everything because it was like balling. I was this poor kid, and then Vince was like, "Yo, you need to start you can't live for free." So that was like the first time I was like, all right, let me get lunch for everyone, and it was like a lot of people.
I remember
because Vince was like, "Yo, if you want people to like you, you're gonna have to start if someone gets you lunch, you have to get them back." So that's when I started doing that, and I think that's the first thing I remember. And I was talking to you a bit. You're sitting directly opposite of me, Pat. And then I was still a bit confused. I didn't even know what what a recruiter was. I didn't even know that companies have people that just recruit. But that's my recollection of our first meeting.
Okay, let me start off with how I met Andy then. So actually I didn't know Andy was in town or anything like that until I met Andy in Chinatown with his mentor Vince, which is my really good friend. I just got a haircut. Saw Andy in Chinatown. We met with his good friend who was my barber at the time, Raymond, as well. We ate lunch at this Taiwanese restaurant. I forgot what it was called, but Andy was Andy was I knew they told me that he was did a lot of drop shipping back then, and now Andy's kind of killing it from what I've seen. So I'm really happy that Andy kind of found his way. I met Andy, and then basically Vince is like a good friend of ours. He's also a brother to me too, as well as like Andy's mentor / big brother. But Vince also is like a really good friend and also a good mentor for me too. When it comes to financially and just things like that. He's basically kind of like the operations risk taker, and I kind of just follow. Andy kind of just found his own way with it himself too, which I'm very happy for Andy. He doesn't go through the whole traditional route because even though it's a good thing. I'm happy to see how Andy turned out, and he's able to basically. What impressed me about Andy, just hearing about him, was like, wow. At age 18, he's just doing pretty well for himself. I forgot how much money you're making, Andy, at the time, but it wasn't even about the money. It was more about you just had the guts to really go out there, try out things. Everyone's pretty scared of doing. You took the action. I was really proud of it. So I was pretty impressed when I first met Andy and heard about what he's been doing. We kind of met there, and then we after that, I think we just kept kicking it a little bit more during his time, and then Andy's kind of mentioning about boxing lessons. So Vince, he's a funny guy. He basically told Andy. I think because Andy was still kind of a kid, so he's all like, Andy used to learn how to get punched in the face, stuff like that. And then I was like, all right, well, I've been doing martial arts for a long time. And then I was teaching a student too back then. I was like, okay, well, he's kind of at a basic level too, so I'm sure they could spar a bit. So, and I'm sure they had fun. But then that's basically it. So that's kind of my short story of meeting Andy. We could go a little bit more into details later. But My background is in general. I currently work in recruiting in a tech. So if you do or do not know, there's recruiting and agency where people actually really start in recruiting. We call like Aerotech. There's like, man, I forgot all these things, but Aerotech's pretty popular. But basically there's a lot of like, there's agency, there's in-house. I started in-house, which is basically you work for a company and then you just help try to build out the company's recruiting team. Agency, you get paid more of a commission and then you kind of get clients from different companies, things like that. It's basically like very like quick sales and just, get the money out, get the money, keep the client, or maybe you move on to a different client as well. So there's like Randstad, Aerotech, all those sort of teams. But then I work at a company called back then. My job was formerly, we call a recruiting coordinator. So basically what I did was I scheduled a lot of, literally schedule a lot of the candidates to come on site or, schedule random meetings here and there. So like back in 2014-ish, I got into it randomly, really. No one actually grows up wanting to become a recruiter, first of all. And secondly, they said they did, maybe because maybe their family was in it, or maybe, there's somehow people stumble into it. It's not like a traditional job like how, Andy does drop shipping and stuff like that. So it's not a traditional path either. So basically, I kind of got into that after college and then went to China, just trying to figure out what to do with my life. And, we have Asian parents too, so that's kind of a little bit of a push. I found this type of job through a connection. Basically, they knew the director of recruiting at the time. Well, he's still there, sorry. Now he's like a VP or whatever it is. So basically, I kind of just reached out to him and, I kind of bugged him a lot to give me a chance. So, I started off being a recruiting coordinator, start scheduling some jobs. And then after that, I kind of got used to the field. And then I kind of had to really beg to really get into this position we call sourcing at the company. So recruiting and sourcing, that's another topic I could get into. So quick story, just quick nutshell. Sourcing is basically you're just trying to find passive candidates or active candidates that apply to get into the company, basically trying to find the right people for the company. We could talk about the challenges that go behind that, but that's just a general idea. So, after that, usually you'll just pass on to recruiter. Recruiter basically connects to the candidate, closes and stuff like that. And also recruiters as well, there's a full cycle. They could find candidates and close, or they could get from a sourcer and get a candidate from there. But yeah, that's basically the general idea how I got into it. And then after I moved into Backstore, kind of more of a communications company, kind of like Skype in a way, but for businesses, for enterprises, things like that. A lot of sales agents use it, and it's technically a lot cheaper. And then you could use video, messenger, kind of things like Slack that they acquired. So they have those type of technologies. And then I kind of I moved on from there to working, which is a totally different industry in the gaming world, not necessarily gaming. I started becoming, doing sourcing as a job there. I did, and then I went to do full cycle recruiting, and then I started managing a team. Then I went back to actually just not being a manager anymore. But yeah, that's a nutshell of my history. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, I could get more into it. But that's a general nutshell about myself.
That's awesome, Pat. I think it's really cool to I rarely get to see this side of you where you just nerd out and you're really technical. It's this is Pat's sort of different side. I think because usually we're hanging, we just goof around. So it's really, really cool to see this side of you. But one thing that really surprised me was for this whole time, for some reason, I thought you just sort of got in and just sort of easily climbed the ranks. But what you tell me, it actually took work. You had to sort of really follow up, sort of had to really sort of get their attention, and you really worked your way up. It wasn't just easy. Tell me what tactics did you use? Was it just following up, or what do you mean by sort of bug them?
Do you mean how I got my job, or do you mean
both? How you got your job, then how you got into sourcing, and how you sort of had to beg to get those positions. Not beg, but like you had to like really follow up. I'm curious what that means.
Okay.
It's like in finance, as you do, you go on LinkedIn, you find people, you make a connection, and you keep bugging them, right? Like, is that what you did, or like the strategies, etc.?
Okay, got you. So luckily I had a connection that helped me connect with the director of talent back then. So after I met him one time, I got his number and I kept bugging him every freaking day until he got so tired of me. He's like, Patrick, just come in. I woke up one day and he's like, and I see a message, Patrick, just come in. Like, oh shit. So I went in, I dressed like, I think I had I literally had like 1 hour to get ready because I just woke up and I saw like, oh shit. So I got ready, just went in there, and then basically the guy's like, all right, you got the job. Like, okay, shit. And just so you know, this job, I was just I didn't care at that point because I was just looking for something to get my foot in the door. Like, I didn't care what it was. I didn't care to pay. But guess how much I got paid?
Oh, 40K?
$11 an hour.
Whoa! How old were you at the time, Pat?
I was 24, 25.
And then what was the position?
I was just doing coordinator. I was just coordinating schedules, and
wow.
Actually people get paid a good 25 to 30 starting out, and then inflation happens, right? So now it's like 35 to 45.
And then Pat, were you bugging a bunch of people or just that one person for some reason? I had that connection, and then because like I was lost, man. Like I was like, oh, maybe I want to do procurement because I like supply shit. Hanging with Vince, you see how he does all the supply shit. Yeah. So I was like, oh, maybe I could get into that. But then the guy's like, he's a recruit. The guy's like a director of talent. Like, I'm so stupid. I just asked him to be in his team. Like, duh, right? Yeah. So that's kind of what happened. So I just took it as an internship to more so learn than anything. And then I was getting paid. I wasn't getting paid that much for like 1-2 years. Like I was getting paid $11 to $15 just doing that. And then
and how long did you stay in that role for with that pay? Because like I don't know what at that time was that like the minimum wage, because I'm very unsure as to the
minimum wage in the Bay Area is $15.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
insane.
But then I didn't care. I didn't care at that point. I was like, I just need something. But then I stayed at that role as a coordinator for a good 6 months, and then I jumped into more of a recruiting, technical sourcer role. But I was kind of lucky because it's kind of mix of a recruiting core and a sourcer. So basically, I started like getting away, and I was getting away from the coordinator again to more sourcing. And honestly, it took me like literally, I had no direction because like basically I was just there they kind of like expected me to just pick things up. And, luckily I didn't get fired, but I got yelled at. I got, like the guy, I got chewed out every day. Like, damn, my mentor chewed me out, man. Like he, because like when you're out of college, you assume you got a degree. You're like, oh shit, I'm everyone has that entitlement, right? I had it too. Everyone's all like, okay, well, I got a degree. I can make something myself, right? Like everyone's special, right? So I had that mindset too. So I had that mentor. I think he saw it too. And then, it took me like a year to really, and I never really worked that much before, to be honest with you guys. Like I wasn't, not saying I was born in a silver platter or anything, but I didn't have to like pay for like, I didn't have debt. I didn't have any of those stuff, but so I had to pay my dues. Right. So basically, it was a tough year. It was a tough year. Not gonna lie, guys. It was a tough year. And then even even having that money, like it didn't matter because it brought a lot of character out because I had a tough guy, agency style, like set up sales. Like I trained to be quick, trained to be fast. Like I had to sharpen up really quick. Yeah, and you never met me before. Yeah, you never met me when I was like around 24. Like my brain, I was totally not sharp. I was definitely, you guys are a lot sharper than me at your age.
I just got lucky. I got lucky.
Yeah.
No, but in saying that, like you can say that you weren't sharp at all, but at the same time, what you can't teach people is, you can, like we talked about it so many times in our podcast and previous episodes.
Yeah.
You can teach people book smarts and
Exactly.
you can learn all this stuff in uni, but the dedication, the drive, the commitment to go out, get that role for yourself, bug that person.
Yeah.
No one else is going to do that. No one else is going to be willing to put in those hard yards to get to that level. And I personally, I would, from a third party looking in, I see and I put it and I attribute it to like the survival Asian instinct mentality or the immigrant mentality. Well, for me anyway, that's what I see in terms of the drive, the commitment, etc. But props to you for being able to, go through all that. Cause like, I'm thinking about it now. I'm like, God damn, man. Like it would have fried my brain. Like surely there would have been times when you're like, I just
And then and also you guys know working in tech is like, it's all about, one is connections, two is degrees. And for my field too, it's, to get from, because usually I didn't go to traditional path. I went through more of like networking path. But then usually people will go through an agency. They get pretty grilled really hard in agency. A good 1-2 years at well. It's a very grindy experience. I kind of felt it too when I was, because the guy who trained me was from an agency basically, and he just told me how lucky I was, and then I didn't realize it until like after I quit the first job, and I kind of realized like, oh, I had it pretty good, stuff like that as well. And then because I took on a new job after that, and then that job didn't really work out, so I didn't, I was just let go, and then I went to after that too. But then you don't really realize these things until you lose something. So but yeah, like I was there for like I'll go a good 2.5 to 3 years, and then I kind of like figure out, like, then I quit. I was like, I felt like I was, everyone, I talked to a lot of people like in this type of field, like everyone always feels undervalued, everyone always feel like they could do better, right? But then sometimes grass is not greener, and sometimes it is, so you always have to take your risk. So but people who they come from like an agency route, basically they have to pay their dues through like really hardcore grinding. I know some people there do like 50 to 100 calls like a week on the phone. And then in corporate, and these people, they want to go to a corporate environment because it's not as rough. And then you get paid a little bit more because these tech companies pay a shitload of money to a lot of these folks in general, whatever level you are. Like it's easily almost like 90 to 100K if you easily come from agency to a corporate company. And they're like, and then you get kind of like, and then you get paid commission agency, but it depends on how the agency treats you. So a lot of these people, they want to get into that environment. And I was lucky enough to get into that environment. I wasn't getting paid that much, but I was lucky enough that I could build the foundation from there. Then that's kind of what kind of happened to me now. So yeah, that's kind of my background there.
That's awesome, Pat. And how'd you get into yeah, and how'd you get that job?
Funny story. So yeah, like I said, I was let go from a job. I'm not going to mention it, not to mention a company, but I was let go, and then I was lost again, honestly. So then I did Lyft for a while. I tried to do random shit on Amazon as well. I'm lucky I had friends. We had friends to teach us and show us a little bit. But then at the same time, I just, it made me reflect a lot, thinking like, man, I actually had it pretty good, even though I wasn't being treated as valued as I thought. Like, man, it was pretty good. Like it was, I could have, I had good connections there. They all liked me, and then I was thinking about going back to my old company too. I was like, but there's a point where I was like, oh, just so I did quit because I was on contract for a good 3 years. So I was like, I kind of want to get converted, and because you get the employee benefits, and if you guys look at stock right now, I was like, shit, I wish I would have got it, but I didn't get it. And then so then I was like, so then I quit. So I went to another company because I felt that they might have valued me more than the previous one. So then I was kind of like lost in limbo, kind of just figuring out what to do. Oh, and I got a house too, so I had to figure out how to how to pay for the mortgages and stuff like that too. So I was like really nervous. And then
was it this one, the one that you're currently in Shipyard?
Yes, right here.
Cool.
Yeah, I had it in 2017, and then luckily I have my wife Annie, who helped kind of cover a few things when I was trying to figure things out. So, I had a good support, but then, mentally I was just like, shit, I was like trying to figure it out. I was doing random stuff like Lyft, Amazon, whatever I needed to do, teaching martial art classes here and there too. So I was just figuring out a lot of shit. But then, I just randomly started applying to jobs, trying to get I think it took me like a good 5 to 10 interviews to kind of brush up again. Cause once you just forget, it's another skill set you have to learn too. If you do look for work in general, which all the kids out there should know how to do. And grown-ups. So basically, I was just trying to figure out what the hell to do. So then I stumbled upon a random ad. It basically says like growth, like 30% year-over-year growth, and then 250 employees, and random. I didn't know it because it was from another agency, and this agency, they help hire recruiters for companies. So basically, now these days they call R4R. It's called recruiting for recruiters. So, but then this specific agency was working for. I didn't even know what the hell it was. So I just took the call, and then the guy liked me, and the guy introduced me to one of the former directors of recruiting, and then I just went in for an interview, and then they just hired me. And then I was looking, and then I don't mind sharing salary or anything, but then I was getting paid like a good $35 back. They pay me, and they put me on contract first to full time. So they pay me a good $45 on like when I got in. Like, this is great, shit. Then that's how I kind of got into it, and then it's been a tough but really good 4 years. So yeah, that's kind of what happened.
That's awesome, Pat. So because I met you in September 2018.
18, yeah.
So that must have been a year in.
I think 1 or 2 years, maybe. I forgot.
Yeah, and then I remember you're sort of like, I remember you doing like recruiting on the side, or you're helping some like Vince's friend. You had some side gigs.
I did some side stuff here and there, but then I figured I didn't want to do it anymore because it's just you're doing recruiting every day already, and then the side thing you do recruiting is like too much recruiting. So then also I was kind of worried about conflicts of interest. So I was like I gotta brush that off a little, but that's kind of what happened there.
Within you've like climbed the ladder like pretty fast. I remember like every 6 months we'll link up with you and you'll be like, hey guys, I got a pay rise. Oh shit, all right. And it was like every 6 months.
Yeah. So in general, they do a good 6 months, 2 times reviews a year. But I would say because we went IPO, we're not as generous anymore when it comes to stuff, because once you're a private, you could be a little bit more looser. Well, not loose, but that you're not as scrutinized with like financial shit. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens, because we became public this year, so I don't know. I'll let you guys know in October.
That's awesome.
Kind of what happened there.
So I know like Vince told me that IPO'd. I know like you hit it big. What happened? Tell me what how many shares you had?
I think I got it's like a little bit more than 1,000. Whoa!
And how much is that worth now?
So times it by its current price, I think it's like
87.88.
Yeah.
What? Well, how much does that add up to?
My man is yoked. He is yoked.
Pat, so I clearly remember you were asking Vince for advice.
Oh, that's a big number. That is. I respect, because like you went from working $11 an hour. Yeah. And like you were mentioning, grass isn't always greener on the other side, but it worked. This is a big number, Andy, bro.
I got lucky. That's for sure.
You got lucky, but at the same time, you worked hard for it. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
there comes luck, and he's done the calculation.
What? Oh shit! I'm so happy for you. Dude, when Vince told me you hit it big, I was not expecting this big.
I did. So they gave me that much, but I did sell a few in buybacks. So technically, right now, I'm about like, if I were to, I think I have about like 1,000 that I have vested so far. I still gotta wait for some more to vest as well. But luckily, just for some, knowledge for you guys, luckily I exercised before the IPO, and there's a lot of like shit that I discovered when it hits IPO, because, like there's things like where you have to pay taxes on the gains that you didn't even sell the stocks for. So, you didn't make, it says you make money on paper, but you didn't make the money because you never sold. So there's a lot of shit that I had to figure out. But luckily, I got it before when IPO. I exercised before when IPO. But yeah, I'm not a financial guy, but I learned a lot. I learned a lot of shit. Like when I IPO, I was like, like, thank God I just exercised everything. Because I know a lot of people who had like over, I don't know, 60,000 shares. They didn't exercise anything, and they had to, and now they gotta wait. And then
what's exercise? What does exercise mean?
So basically, the meaning of exercise is basically, so you get stocks that vest. So basically, there's stocks that you could. So it's not. So it is yours, but you can only do something once you exercise it. And once you exercise it, it's so basically exercising is like, I guess you really kind of own it. It's kind of a weird way of saying, like, in a non-financial way. For me, from my understanding, is like you kind of own it, but then you could sell it too. But vesting, you're just kind of gathering. You're just gathering. Yeah. And exercising, you could. That's when you. And then this is options. So you actually have to buy options. So once it becomes public, you have RSUs, which you just acquire without having to really buy it. But then there's a lot of taxes involved after you exercise. Yeah. And then because it depends on the share price as well. Yeah. Because now ROVA is so high, and then your share price was like 53 cents. So you subtract the current price minus the price I got it. And they said that's your gain. And then times by how many shares it is like, oh, you made over like $80,000 to $100,000. You still have to pay. You got to pay taxes on it because. And you didn't sell it either. You still got to pay for those taxes. So a lot of folks got.
Damn.
Yeah. So basically, but I got lucky though, because I acted much earlier, because I kind of saw some potential opportunities that I wanted to get into, but I just really got lucky. I didn't know about any of this stuff. It just randomly happened, like always. So yeah.
Holy shit, Pat. So what's life like now? Did anything change? How do you feel? This is like crazy. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. I'm like cheering. I'm just like, damn, this is so cool.
When it first hit me, I thought about, for me, it was like more concerned about the taxes, honestly. like shit, like how should I do this, right? Like, and then also same time, like, you do have this much money as well. I'm not going to say how much I exercised already or how much I could cash out today. But then, I just think about like, okay, how long do I want to stay at this company? What should I do for the rest of my life? Like, should I wait for this thing to go up and to the moon or should I diversify it, right? So, there's so many, it's scary, right? It's like, shit, I don't want to fuck up. So that's my thoughts. Other people's thoughts, maybe they just want to like enjoy life a bit more or whatever. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. I just want to, and then, Andy, we all talk about financial freedom, right? So I'm trying to figure out what to do with my money so I don't have to, if I don't have to work,
make it work for you.
More of my thoughts, yeah. So like, I don't want to
put it all in Shiba coin.
Shitcoin, yeah. Dogecoin, Shiba coin, whatever it is. So yeah, like, you kind of think about it, these kind of things. So that's just and then the thing is like, luckily, I have friends like you, Andy, and Vince as well, like, because you guys are making good money already. It's like you guys kind of already kind of there. Like, you guys mentally, like, I have this much money, I know what to do with it. But then for someone like me or someone who's like,
I'm not at your level yet, Pat. I'm not at your level. I'm not at your level. I'm out.
But for yourself, you could control it for yourself, because not a lot of you know how to create it for yourself. But for me, I kind of just hit the lotto, right? So like, what do people do when they hit the lotto, right? Like, some people spend it on like like nice
How
shit.
how do you get such good self-awareness? How did you like have like such good self-awareness, not much ego? Like a lot of people in your situation would be like, I'm the shit, but you're like pretty chill.
Yeah, I think because I have a martial arts background, one thing, and I'm a very disciplined martial arts artist, not like a guy who just wants to be good just to look good. Like I just want to be good because I like it. Like I'm very it helps me with my discipline in life, right? That's one thing. You know, I do it because I want to get into things. So it kind of mentally makes me want to get deep into other things too. So it gives me a lot of discipline that way. You know, a lot of folks too, they just, you know, they do it just to make themselves look good, right? Like, but then for me, it's like I just want, you know, happiness and I just want to be, you know, I just want to do whatever the hell I want. But yeah, like, yeah, that's kind of the self-awareness, I think, because of the martial arts background, and also because, you know, I think my family too, you know, Asian, like, well, not just because they're Asian, it's just because my parents are really good. They're pretty good with money. I'm not gonna lie. Like they put me through college. I mean, they never really taught me anything financially, like law wise or anything, but I kind of like, you know, I kind of pick things up from them too.
Yeah, it's one of those things where they might not teach you directly, but like you observe or like you notice these things as you grow older, and then you kind of just realize and appreciate, hang on, they've done this sort of way, and then you kind of just drills into you.
Yeah, it's like one of those weird intangible things like that. You know, maybe your sibling might not pick it up, but I did. My sibling maybe didn't pick it as much, but he's super frugal too. But but yeah, he's a little different too than me. But yeah, and then I think because I don't know, I have a good energy reading too, as well. So like and I think you guys know, like whoever you guys hang out with is who you kind of are, right? So there's that too. So you know, I don't drink. I kind of smoke, not really. But then yeah, I mean, I think just the circle I have, right, and then the people I surround myself with, and you know, I could go really deep with. So I think that's kind of the self-awareness as well. And yeah, I think because like I have a very obsession, maybe it's an unhealthy obsession with just training and martial arts, that kind of just made me like filter a lot of other stuff in life. So yeah, I guess that's just how I became that.
That's awesome, Pat. I remember. Well, actually, I was unfortunate. Like, I wasn't able to watch any of your pro fights or your like. Was it pro or amateur? Was it amateur fights?
I was amateur. I never went pro.
They were pretty like legit fights, like ring and like legit. Like I was watching the video, the one that you posted, and like those look insane. How many of those amateur fights have you done?
Not many. Actually, I wanted to do more because I got into the fighting stuff a lot later, like around like 24, 25. By doing martial arts when I was younger, but you know, it's kind of more performance and like just form stuff versus like actual like pounding stuff. So basically, I didn't do much, honestly, because one thing is, you know, doing these things, first off, it's a lot of time. And then secondly, you know, you really, you know, you got work and then you got to train is like, it's a bit much and you got diet. So that's another thing. So, yeah, it was tough. It's tough. And also because, you know, these organizations aren't very reliable either. You got people dropping out, can't make weight, you know, you show up ready, then you figure out, oh, opponent pulled out. I'm like, oh shit. Then you got a new opponent, right? And then so then I had that happen to me like once or twice. I think every time the 2 times I fought, I always had different opponents. It was never the same guy. Yeah. And either I had to go up in weight sometimes, or maybe I had to like, you know, cut down a little bit. So it was just not a very sustainable thing. As much as I wanted to do it, you know, it just didn't make sense. But just for fun, honestly. But if I had the money or whatever, or just really not even money. It's not even about money now. But if I just had the freedom to do anything, I just try it out. Maybe try a little bit more. And hopefully I don't get hurt. But you know, just try it out more. Do a little bit more.
Yeah, 100%. You got the training, MMA, bro, and get a call on to Dana White. Let's do it. We'll get you on the ring. get some. But I don't know. Like I've heard all this Jake Paul talk where UFC fighters don't get paid as much, or what is it? Like MMA fighters don't get paid as much as like compared to boxing, or maybe not. But it's always there. It's always there up your sleeve if you'd like to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind buying Jake Paul. Shoot, I wouldn't mind. I'm like much tinier than him, but I wouldn't mind.
Get a bag, secure a massive bag.
Yeah, celebrity fighting is a pretty big thing these days too. So yeah, and then you got all these retired fighters like getting into boxing now. I was like, what's going on?
Dude, they should do like a Silicon Valley like boxing thing. A bunch of like engineers, developers, recruiters from the tech world just boxing each other.
Oh man. Yeah, they probably see who could code faster or something. I don't know. Talk to or whatever it is.
What's your thoughts? Is going into the VR world? Is there like any NFTs? Are you guys recruiting a bunch of like VR people? What's the future look like, you reckon?
Yeah. So I always would tell my candidates and you know, not because I only tell them because it's what I tell them, but it's actually true. They're getting into voice chat, something kind of like we acquired a company kind of similar to Discord. It's called. And then they're getting into like avatar facial expression stuff. So because like we're doing like avatar chat stuff. So you know, like those, you know, like on your iPhone you had those like random like lion, you could like do those facial things. We acquired a company that kind of does that. So basically, and also virtual concerts too is another thing too. So they're getting into the music industry and they're getting into like other forms of.
I saw that. They got KSI on a virtual concert.
Yeah. That's like a record. I think it's like a record release. But now they have like 21 pilots actually. So it's like this one's like an actual avatar of them going to be in the concert because in October we had like Little Nas. And then they like did a virtual like Little Nas. You could YouTube it later. They did, like a virtual Little Nas like singing on stage, kind of like that. And then Fortnite has their own thing too, doing it too. But yeah, I kind of get into that space. So VR, a little bit. We're not there yet. I don't think so because VR is such a niche thing still. So a lot of engineers we're doing. It's the funny thing you have to learn about too is like it's because it's more of a platform. So like is not creating the games. So they're getting all these engineers. Like we got people on doing like kind of more the gaming side of the world to, you know, do some of the gaming features and stuff like that. But it's not like the actual gaming of, you know, does create its own experience within the platform. We're not really creating the games itself because the more the popular stuff is because they use it. But now with the aging up thing we're getting into, we're getting a bit more these virtual environments and things like that. But then other than that, you know, we got things like a typical Silicon Valley companies do. We got people working on like, you know, the cloud, like kind of like AWS stuff, you know, stuff like that. We're building our own data structures and things like that. We got a lot of things on like the payment side of the world. Just like a whole ecosystem and things like that. So yeah, a lot of interesting shit going on. It's always exciting, but a lot of growing pains too. So
much going on around at the moment. It's like it's quite interesting space to be in because you're talking about virtual concerts and you're talking about, you know, acquiring a company like Discord with the VR chats, etc. It's got a lot of potential because every time I see, I always think it's just like that like a kids game or something, but it's actually like, that was from when I was working ages ago in I worked in a department store. We used to sell I think add-ons for the games or something. I don't really know exactly,
like
but
the coupon codes or whatever.
And then now it's like shifted so much, and it's just like it's very interesting space. I think it makes it better for you as well because the work gets a little bit more interesting in the sense that the requirements, etc. But yeah, wow, that's awesome. I didn't even know any of that. That's insane.
Yeah. We're also growing, and we have an office in China right now too. And then they're getting to like Korean markets, Japanese, European. A lot of shit going on. Yeah, even more than I think there's It's a lot.
That's the big money markets. The South Asia ones, Japan, Korea. That's the money markets because Korea, especially South Korea, like they're in on it. Like, you know what I mean? They're in on it. So the future's bright. The future's.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty exciting time for sure. Definitely. Yeah, I'm definitely not bored. Never bored. I can tell you that.
I reckon like Pat's like perfect for the flip side. So basically, how we came up with the flip side is I'm sort of like into business, and Krishn's sort of into like the 9 to 5 sort of work life and corporate world, and that's sort of how I felt when I was like in America. Pat was like. Would catch up with Pat. You know, Pat was this like chill dude. He would watch anime. He would play games. He would love going to Thailand. He would just like watch a bunch of Netflix shows. And it was like, damn, like I enjoyed doing all those things. And you were just like a normal person in like San Francisco, because everyone was like, all these tech dudes are into like rock climbing, development, into like freaking Wim Hof breathing strategies and like intermittent fasting, freaking. Like they will eat weird foods, and you're just like a normal dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like to chill, honestly.
If you like to chill, we'd get along. I like to chill as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of an oddball in the industry too sometimes. Yeah, I just let my results show for what it is. You know, try not to get into any political mess, but
So you mentioned that you felt like an oddball, like you were working. I'm assuming not alongside, but like you said that you dabbled in around what Vince was doing. I'm assuming in terms of procurement, etc. Yeah. Surely that would have been just a bit like, was it overwhelming? Was it like a lot? Because I can, just from gathering from 45 minutes of knowing you right now, like I can sort of gather that, you know, you're like you mentioned, it would have been different. So like, what was the reason for you, like, you know, being like, yeah, maybe it's not for me? Did you hit a point where you realized like, yeah, nah, maybe not? Or
and I want to add, like, Krishn is like, he's sort of like in that place where he's sort of hanging out with, like, spend time with me, and we have other friends that are in business. And Krishn's like, oh, maybe I want to try do something on the side. I want to try something. So he was in a similar situation to you like 5 years ago, where you're trying many different things. So like, I think,
So I guess I think I'm understanding the question is like, how come I'm not doing kind of just doing something like what Vince is doing, or just, So I figured out, you know, I think Andy, as you and I both know, once you meet Vince, you always think you're gonna be an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
So he kind of gets that, but then, you know, I think as even he grew up and I grew up, I realized he like Vince will always tell me, or he's like don't lie to yourself, right? If you know, just don't do it because I could do it. If you like, you have to kind of really like it, you know, you have to. You know, you have to think about it. You gotta, you know, always gotta think about this shit. Always gotta solve these problems, right? That every day you could do. And for me, I'm not like that. Honestly, man. Like, I just want to just, you know, I can't. I'm not Vince. You know, like that's how I learned that, right? I'm just me. I gotta be me. I can't lie to myself. So, you know, and I think about, like, I don't really have, you know, and then I don't really have that drive to do things like he could do, right? So, you know, I kind of figure out, like, I got to get good at what. Oh, that's when I kind of learned, like, yeah, I don't want to go through that kind of risk, some of those risk-taking stuff sometimes. So, and then honestly, I just got to figure out myself. That's what it was. So, you know, as much as I wanted to, you know, hang out with Vince, like maybe you or Vinny did back then, as much, but I had to figure out for myself, like what I could do to. And I had to invest in myself, whether it be, you know, learning a job, learning from a skill set in a job, because, you know, even though people think entrepreneur is cool and all that, you know, it's a lot of shit you got to figure out. You know, there's a lot of things you got to drive, you got to motivate yourself, you got to do all that stuff. And even people kind of look at a 9 to 5 life too. I don't think it's that bad, because you do get paid. Somebody just tells you what to do, right? And then you know, and then the security in it at times. But then also you get what you get out of it. You learn people skills. One thing is people skills. You learn how to work with different sorts of people, and then you learn how to. And then if you fail at your job, it's not like you're gonna get fired right away. You're gonna, you know, they do talk to you about stuff like that, and you know, it's not like and then you learn how to accept failure that way too. So in a way, even though a 9 to 5 is not as people do look down at times, but I see it more of a experience to like grow and learn from. Then you pick up those skills to maybe get something for yourself too. Maybe it's not your time to do entrepreneur. You're not that self-driven yet. But then to the people who are like that, like you, Andy, and Vince, like, you kudos, like shit, you guys can figure it out without having to be in this kind of environment that other people have to be in. So, I just feel like I just needed to grow up in that way. I need to work with different folks. I need to, learn, because sometimes you just don't know. You really just don't know these things. You just don't, you kind of have to figure out. So that's why I went to that. I felt like, because I'm not as, I guess I can't, you always feel like there's something better, right? You always feel like there's some other person who could teach you what you need. So, and then you kind of realize, like, when I was in that environment, I realized, like, I'm just like, not to brag, but I am one of the top performers at the company right now. I outproduce anybody there, and I could prove it to you guys immediately. So, and then when you have all these like high level people coming in too, who maybe around your level, maybe even a lot higher, you just realize there's not that much they done compared to you. Even though you accomplish yourself, there's not as much they can do. Maybe they just got their position a little higher. Maybe they, clean the right shoes. I don't know. But maybe they probably think a little bit differently too. They know how to like work the system a little bit more than I would. Thought they do get promoted to handle people more. So there's just a lot of things you learn at these type of environments. But at the same time, maybe, and now, since I got lucky, I do want to just invest my money elsewhere to, figure it out too. So yeah, that's my answer there.
Don't lie. You want to invest that money into Shiba Coin, Bitcoin, all of it is going straight to the moon.
all the coins.
All the coins. But on a real, like, I think, from touching on what Andy said, it takes a great level of self-awareness to, like, being and around all these people, especially, I'm assuming, the Bay Area, SF? Is it SF? Yeah. In that area around all these people is like a little bit of pressure as well, because everyone's looking at you in terms of, are you going to take that leap, I guess, and to, like, fully delve into it. And it takes a great amount of self-awareness to just be like, okay, look, maybe it's not for me. Maybe, I'll take a step back to go into something else and just figure it all out. Because like you said, like, I talked to Andy and, like, it is maybe something I'd like to do, but at the same time, you're right. There's some things that you learn from a 9 to 5 that you can't really get it anywhere else. But at the same time, not everyone can do it. You know what I mean? Like, exactly. If Andy were, like, just for instance, if you were to stop what you're doing and go to a 9 to 5, and I'm not saying this because
I would struggle. I would probably have to struggle. I have to figure it out. Yeah,
you'd struggle at the start. Anyone would. If I were to go into entrepreneurship, anyone would struggle. It's about adapting and taking the time to get into it. But you're right. Like, when you work in a 9 to 5, and especially in an organization, there's projects that you can work on. There's different people. Like, you meet different people. I'm sure you meet characters. You meet characters, sure. Right? Yeah. And meeting all these people, taking small, pages out of their books, and just learning, understanding, gathering people skills. It's one of those things that, look, it is a 9 to 5 at the end of the day. I work for someone else, and it's not my organization I'm growing. But at the same time, has its benefits. It's something that it might not be suited to other people, and I think at the end of the day, that's what makes this quite unique. The flip side, you know what I mean? That's why I rated it. But yeah, like, I like it. I rate it because you stayed true to yourself. You didn't want to jump head first, but at the same time, do you ever, like, think about, what could have been if you did dive in head first?
Man, I don't know. I probably wouldn't have made it, to be honest with you guys. I probably wouldn't.
You wouldn't have those. So you wouldn't have the.
I would have wasted a lot of time. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I'll probably be a very I probably would be a very hateful, not hateful, but like a regretful 30-year-old right now. yeah. I'll be wasting, like, I don't think I would have made it, honestly. I don't think so. Yeah, but now I think maybe now I could, but not in my, I think from my 20s to 30s, that's when I kind of just needed to grow a bit. Yeah.
On the other hand, Pat, like I didn't know you did the Amazon stuff, so that's super cool. Because I know the story how you met Vince by offering to just help him pack halo belts for free. And then every time Vince would launch a Kickstarter, you'd come over, you would help pack stuff. You'll sometimes be over at the house to help renovate a few things together with us. And then you tried the sort of the gym thingy where you did like a small gym outside shipyard. Do you remember that? Where like you would set up, you would like do gym coaching or boxing training outside shipyard. That was that. And you came over, we helped make the logos and stuff, the social media. But then now you're sort of working with Vince on like on the cars. And that's something you're sort of doing on the side over like a long period of time. All those other things were sort of little things that sort of just faded away. But now you're sort of doing, you have like a mini side hustle that's been consistent.
So I mean, just like, you know, I think it was just a good time. And then and also I look at a lot of track record too. You know, I'm not gonna put my money in somebody like random as well. You know, like we built a friendship over, I don't know, man, like 7 years, honestly. And then I've seen him grow, he's seen me grow, and you know, randomly, you know, I guess the time was right. That's kind of what happened there. So
that's awesome.
No, not so many last questions. I asked a few, and I apologize if it came off as very interviewy. I'm just happy that we had a great guest on. You know, it's been a great chat. I'm not gonna lie, and it's been great to learn from you as well, because I'm just getting started into my career. So like, you know, different things. Yeah, everything's coming at me head first, and it's like the same as you in the sense that, you know, when you, like, you know, the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and you know, you maybe left a job, or I'm kind of just like, you know,
Krishn,
we'll see what. I'm in banking and finance. Okay. Yeah. So I have a job lined up next year in an Australian bank. Ideally, you know, maybe moving into a European bank or an American bank, but I already know what's going to happen if I go into there. You know, all the hours, the workload, it's exponentially. But it's been extremely insightful, and like, honestly, thank you so much for taking your time out of your, what is it, Sunday morning?
No, it's Saturday night.
Super late.
Saturday night. I'm
11:30 p.m. now. Thank you.
So appreciated. Yeah, so appreciated. Thank you so much for, you know, taking the time out of your day. And episode 52 as well. Made it to a year. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. I'll let you close off there.
Any last piece of advice for young people?
Nuggets of wisdom.
20 to 30,
they're just still trying to figure things out.
I would just say, just take some risk. Just take risk. Honestly, you guys are young enough to take risk. They're young, not you guys, but they're young enough to take risk. And you know, just do it. You know, if it calls it, just do it. Try it, fail, go on to the next. Like, that's all it is. And don't try to shortcut. There it is. Yeah, don't try to shortcut. There's nothing easy in life. That's all I can tell them.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Pat. I really appreciate you coming on. Always loved your energy. Loved those one-on-one conversations. We would rarely have them, but like, I still remember those car conversations where you would drive me around, whether it's to the gym, to the martial art place. And I miss you, man. And I really appreciate you taking the time to come on. And this was a blast. I had fun. Thanks so much, Pat.
Yeah, it was good. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
That's episode 52. Peace.
Thank you. Later, guys.